last night I started reading the Surah, my third section of that. I started reading it last night and reflecting on it and working on studying it today. And okay, warning, this may be a Kleenex warning because I'm going to get a little weepy probably. If you are uncomfortable with that, you got a few seconds to bye-bye, come catch the next one. If you're not comfortable with feeling heavy feelings. Tomorrow is the birthday of my darling Channing Elizabeth that I lost when she was 16 years old. I went through infertility treatments. My first husband and I could not have children. We went to private adoptions. I had a couple of those set up, and then the birth mother would change their mind at the last minute after you have a nursery. And so then I became a foster parent. And I didn't want to become a foster parent because I'd worked in the system. I was an assistant DA then, and I was working child protective cases. And so I saw what happens in the system. And I said, I am not going to do that. And after our second failed adoption, a friend of mine came in who worked with CPS came and said, have you thought about fostering? We really, really need homes. And I said, I ain't doing that. I said, I had just 2 weeks before I had one of those babies I thought I was going to get to adopt. Birth mother changed her mind. And so I said, I am still heartbroken over the loss of that little boy. His birth mother named him Justin. And so there's a Justin out there that's about 26 years old that I prayed for throughout the pregnancy. I drove down the day that he was born, and she changed her mind. But I told my friend, I can't imagine. I am heartbroken, and I never saw his face. I can't have little babies placed with me and take care of them and love them, and then the court send them back to sometimes not a good situation, which, by the way, we had. My 23-year-old son, when he and his biological sister were returned to their mother from being in my care, his birth mother unalived his little sister. She's serving life in prison for capital murder. But I told my friend, I can't do that. It hurts too much. I cannot do that. And she said, well, just think about it and pray about it. And if you followed my journey at all, you guys know I've been a person of faith. That's evolving right now because I'm trying to figure out what's true and what's not with all the things that I've been taught over the years. So that's evolving. But then my whole life revolved around my faith. It was central to who I was. And so I did. I prayed about it, and I thought about it, and my husband and I sat down one Saturday night and talked about it, and I said, I just can't. I just can't. It's going to hurt too much. I can go through private adoption again, but I can't be a foster parent. And the next morning we went to church, and the pastor spoke about love. And, I knew everything he said. I'd been in church. I'd been studying the Bible. He did not say a single thing to me that was a new thought that I hadn't really thoroughly already meditated on and understood. But he said, when you love the way we're told to love, sometimes it costs you something. When you love the way Jesus loved us, sometimes it hurts. But I just felt this feeling of, but are you willing to risk your own heart to help some of my little children? And I just felt, kind of like God smacking me upside the head saying, selfish much? You're only thinking about your own heartbreak. But I have little children who need to be held and loved and fed and shown there's a way to live without monsters in the night. So I did. I became a foster parent. And my first foster son, that was a different story. But then my next placement was on the same day from different families, a 13-year-old boy who is now my 23-year-old son, and a 6-day-old little girl who would be 21 tomorrow. I got a place for the next 2 days where I'm just going to be by myself. I'm never by myself. I have a big house full of lots of family. And on her birthday every year, I just want a couple of days by myself so I can cry if I want to cry or do whatever. I know this video is super long. No one's going to watch it, but I still want this recorded. Um, because on my way here this morning and last night, I started reading the Surah, this set 2, my third section of that. I started reading it last night and reflecting on it and working on studying it today. And the question that was left with me after my study in the Quran, right, by my faith, what I've been taught, a book that's just evil. People in my church say it's Satan's book. I mean, I never believed that, but that's where I come from. But in studying the Quran today, the message that I took away was God is calling us to remember all the times He has been faithful so that we can have the strength to walk through today and hope for tomorrow. And I need that because her birthday, all the holidays, they are hard. Because she was the first one that I actually got to adopt. My first child, the child I had prayed for. And then she had severe special needs, which were so hard, but which taught me to be such a better person. She made me a better human. And then He took her. I'd done everything I was supposed to do. I never got in trouble. I was the good girl. I dated Jesus all through college, and I waited to have sex till I got married, and, I did it all by the rules, and I couldn't have my own kids, and then He gives me one that I didn't even want to go through the process to get. And then she has such special needs, and because of that, I think I love all my kids. I don't mean this to sound this way, but there was something special in that bond. And I think it was probably God making my heart bind so strongly to hers that we could make it through the really hard days we had with her, because there were really hard days. Maybe we have some trauma bond too. That's probably part of it. I just thought of that. Anyway. That's a long time. I'm sure no one is still here. If you're still here, please make a comment because I want to know how many people really stayed this long. And studying a book that my whole life I've been taught was evil got me to a place where God was reminding me exactly in this moment to remember the times He's been faithful, which will give me the strength to walk through the hard times today and the hope of the better things that are to come tomorrow. Go love your neighbor.